Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Workplace Organizing. I've been at my job for about 7 months. All in all, it's a job. I'm a front desk receptionist. The role has its challenges, but the bright side was having an amazing manager. She and I learned the system together, because the person I replaced left on a Friday, and I started the following Monday. Unfortunately, she left 2 months ago, and I got reassigned to another team. At first it was fine, until I got sick. One Friday the mail came super late, and my desk had some clutter, because I'm not allowed any overtime and have to leave at exactly 5 PM. So I followed the rule and left on time. On Monday I was out with a 24-hour stomach bug and called in sick. When I came back on Tuesday, I was told my desk was a mess and needed to be cleaned, because it was unacceptable. I took the feedback and moved on. A few weeks later, after taking 2 scheduled PTO days, I got called into a meeting. I was told that my desk and cabinets weren't organized in a way that made sense, and that people shouldn't have to search for things. I was baffled. Even if I labeled everything, people would still have to look through a bunch of labels to find what they needed. One of the first things I did when I started was reorganize the entire workspace, because there was no system in place before. For example, manila envelopes were in 3 different spots. Still, I agreed to clean my desk daily, but I couldn't reorganize for future unknown people. Then today happened. Like everyone, I occasionally need a bathroom break. Around midday I stepped away for 12 minutes. When I came back, I found 2 messages asking if I was still in the building, because someone needed paperwork while I was gone. The paperwork, by the way, was sitting in plain sight on top of a file sorter. Because of this, I've now been told to inform the entire team anytime I leave my desk for any reason. Fine, if that's the new rule, I'll stick to it. From now on, I also take my 2 15-minute breaks every day. And yes, I'll notify the team every time I step away, whether it's to use the restroom, deliver mail, or grab a glass of water. In the meantime, I'm labeling everything. My workspace is about to look like an episode of a cartoon, complete with over-the-top signs and labels for every single item. Honestly though, I'm already looking for a new job. I hate job hopping, but this situation is just too much. I really miss working from home. The next story is called Car Breakdown. This happened ages ago. One day my car wouldn't start, and I realized my breakdown cover didn't include Home Start. I looked online to see how to upgrade my policy, and noticed there was a discount for making the change through their website. So I added Home Start to my policy, and then called them, thinking everything was sorted, to request help. The rep said, "I see you've just upgraded your policy, but you can't use it immediately. You'll need to pay a surcharge for us to send someone out." But I didn't have the right cover before, so how else could I do it? "You would need to call us and pay the surcharge upfront. The online price doesn't apply if you've already broken down." Okay, how long do I need to wait after paying for the upgrade before I can use it? 3 days. It's not valid immediately. So, how would you like to pay? Well, my car is fine parked here for 3 days. I just call back when the 3 days are up. "You can't do that because..." The person starts to mumble, unsure of what to say. So I waited 3 days and called them back. They sent someone out with no problem. It was frustrating how they seemed to take advantage of people in tough situations. Thankfully I wasn't in a hurry, but I could see how this could be a bigger issue for someone who didn't have the option to wait. The third story is called Nursing Time Theft. For the past few years I've been working as a nurse. I started my career in the emergency department of a small hospital in Canada. It was a busy environment, but because we served a small population, we often operated with just enough staff to keep things running. This meant each nurse would handle an extra patient compared to larger hospitals, but on average the cases were less severe, so it balanced out. The busier times of day, like late afternoons and early evenings, were challenging due to higher patient volumes, but during the late night shifts things would quiet down and the workload was manageable. The staffing levels were sufficient and patient care didn't suffer. One unique aspect of our setup was that breaks were uncovered by other staff. When your partner was on break, you'd watch over double the patients. At night, this wasn't a big deal, but during the busier day shifts, it could mean skipping the last 30 minutes unpaid break due to workload. Our department had a system where nurses worked in pairs. One nurse with emergency training and one medical surgical nurse. This setup required both nurses to give and take report together, making the process twice as long as it might be elsewhere. To make up for lost time, our union negotiated a system where we could claim overtime pay for missed breaks and extra time spent during handover. While management wasn't thrilled about paying for those extra hours, the arrangement worked, because during quieter night shifts, many of us would take an extended rest period. This unofficial system kept morale high, ensured nurses were well rested, and didn't affect patient care, as one nurse could handle the workload during those times. Then came the change. A changed nurse, basically the unit supervisor, decided to enforce stricter rules. An email went out, reminding everyone that breaks had to adhere strictly to the contract. 60 minutes of unpaid break time and 45 minutes of paid break time. No more. While the policy was technically correct, it felt unnecessary, since most nurses weren't taking advantage of the system. This announcement stirred things up. The younger staff, familiar with the contract terms, started documenting every missed break and extended handover time. I followed suit, ensuring I submitted the appropriate forms for overtime whenever I worked beyond my shift or missed a break. It was surprising how quickly those small amounts added up. Night shifts became a bit more tedious. A sign-in sheet appeared, requiring us to log our break times and leave our phone numbers, in case we were needed. I declined to leave my number, pointing out that code blues, medical emergencies, were announced overhead, so there was no need to call me directly, unless it was truly urgent. After a few weeks of following the rules to the letter, management seemed to realize the change wasn't working well. They clarified that we could still rest during quieter night shifts, as long as we left our number for emergencies. Things slowly went back to the way they had been before. I eventually moved on to a larger hospital, and it's been a much better experience. Here, breaks are covered by other staff, and the environment encourages us to take longer breaks when possible to avoid burnout. The focus on staff well-being has made a big difference, and I'm much happier in this new role. The last story is called As Requested. I used to work for a large life insurance company, handling customer calls. One day I received a call from a very demanding and abrasive customer. He was sharp, loud and quite intimidating, using a tone that left no room for pleasantries. This caller wanted to know if he could split his life insurance benefit between two people, and if they had to be family. I explained that he could, and there was no requirement for them to be family members. He then insisted on having the beneficiary change form sent to his office instead of his home, stating that his wife was too busy to be bothered with trivial matters. What stood out was how particular he was. He made me repeat our conversation back to him several times, word for word, to ensure I understood his request. By the end of the call, I was shaking. It was that stressful. I sent the form to his office, just as he requested. However, there was one thing I couldn't control: the automatic confirmation letter that gets sent to the policyholder's home address whenever a change is made. This letter lists the new beneficiaries and the amounts allocated to them. A few weeks later, out of curiosity, I checked the account. The change has been made as he requested, and then changed back to his wife as the sole beneficiary. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.